Happy birthday if it's your birthday. Happy late birthday if it's in the past. Happy future birthday if it's in the future. My name is Lime Green, and I have just finished watching all the Star Wars movies. Now this comes with a couple caveats, of course. You know, I haven't seen Solo, I haven't seen, what is this one? Rogue One. We're gonna be only talking about the mainline Star Wars today. And with that, let's bring up the rules today. There's rules on this tier list. Like I said, we're only gonna be talking about the mainline Star Wars movies. There's no Baby Yoda. There's no Book of Boba Fett. Skeleton Crew. Whatever that is. I'm going to try and take all points of consideration into contention. My thoughts, general opinion, impact. I'll try to do that, but you know, we're starting off with the sequel series, so we'll see how it goes from here. The music is Metroid because last time we did all the Marvel movies and we had to do Star Fox, so I couldn't do Star Fox again. So yeah, it's Metroid, and I had to put this in here because I'm not a film critic. Please don't roast me over a fire. So I liked how I did it last time. Started with the latest movie release and worked backwards because I value legacy. And I believe Star Wars fans, they value legacy a lot, but I'm also doing release order, or timeline order. Yeah, timeline order. So we'll do, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Starting off with a very controversial one, Rise of Skywalker. I thought, out of all these, the sequel series was kind of a step down. Alright? And I know, I can be a contrarian, but I can see a lot of other people saying, oh, it's the worst movie of all time. Okay. And I've pulled up a couple of people's takes on this, and I'm going to defend the worst Star Wars movie, allegedly. Palpatine is back. What's up with that? Okay, so the sequel series is kind of like, it's like the original series. Or no, this is how I thought about it in my head. It's like, the best way I can describe it, it's Korra, the Legend of Korra, to the Legend of Avatar. So it's like, man, dark versus light. It's, just showing you the wheel of, I guess, darkness and light. These battles keep going on for generations, and you can see everything playing out, for the most part, exactly how it was. And you're like, man, this is never gonna end unless something big changes. That's what I felt like the entire... There's like a hair in my eye. I can't take this hair out. That's why I thought the message of Rise of Skywalker, what's the other two? Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi, and The Force Awakens. That's what the message I got was. So Palpatine kind of represented like Sith as a whole, kind of like Unavatu. Spoilers for Korra, by the way. He kind of represented all that in one. Now, how does Palpatine returns? Okay, so this is all debunking just one thing. he fell down a pit. Luke in episode... Alright, I'm using like the real timeline. Episode 5, he falls down a pit too, and he just kind of like slides down. Alright. I kind of debunked that, I believe. But there's also an explosion. Like, yeah, I'll give you half points for that. Like, you can be like, alright, he's like a wizardy fellow, and he can shrug off an electric blast to the face. And one of the other points later on is like, well, how'd he get all these guys to help him out? And if he can get an entire Senate on his side, I think he can get a couple guys with him. Alright? He's pretty manipulative. People did not like that Rey turned out to be, you know, actually related to someone important. And I thought that was a kind of a... Alright, for what I was thinking, because the movie's called The Last Skywalker, I thought, you know, she was gonna be turning out to be like Leia's secret child or something they put on a deserted planet to keep her safe. I thought she was just always gonna be a Skywalker, or like Luke's secret child. I don't know. You know, that kind of threw me for a loop. That was kind of a plot twist I wasn't expecting. And, you know, tying into the midi-chlorians, people didn't like, you know, you kind of debunked, you know, how everyone in the world can be a special Force user. I feel like everyone could be a special Force user. You just gotta know how to tap into the midi-chlorians with the right know-how. I guess that's what their explanation was. And like some people know from the get-go, like the broom boy at the end of Last Jedi, who never shows back up. I'll give you that one. That was kind of goofy. But Rey being Palpatine's daughter, that's kind of a neat twist, I guess. Something I wasn't expecting. I'll say I was spoiled on Palpatine coming back, because, you know, how could you not be? But I was not expecting Rey being Palpatine's granddaughter. People did not like, I guess, Force ghosts can use the Force. Kind of makes sense, you know, when you compare it to, you know, like I said, Legend of Korra. As long as, you know, they're not like all out here at the same time, you know, all using the Force and doing crazy shenanigans. I don't know, I feel like they would be just weaker as Force ghosts is my explanation. Just like their powers are like cut not even in half. Like they have like 75% of their Force ghost power, or the regular Force power. And then the Death Star blew up. Alright, so this is why I wanted to try and debunk some stuff. Alright, how do we know that the Death Star that Rey, Finn, and everyone else finds is the Death Star from Star Wars 6. How do we know that's the second Death Star? Because everyone, they're like, actually, it blew up in an explosion, and there is no way that there could be that much rubble afterwards. And how did Kylo Ren find Darth Vader's helmet? And already, I think, this is my headcanon, I think, because there were tons of people working on the Death Star, there could have been someone else making someone else could have seen the Death Star plans and start work on another Death Star. It malfunctioned or something and crash landed here on that planet. I don't know. How do we know? How do we know? And then, alright, the ancient Sith dagger. How did it lead to that specific Death Star? Using the Force can make you see into the future. So they just use the Force and they're like, okay, right here, right now, that's where I gotta put the Wayfinder or whatever. And then they like Snoke being like not a real person. Alright, so the minute I saw Snoke, I was like, that's Palpatine. Because I knew Palpatine was coming back. And I thought Snoke was just like Palpatine. And I was half right, I guess. And did you guys not think he was... So he's an old, wrinkly guy that can shoot lightning from his fingertips. And he's like on a throne giving the orders. Like, I'm not saying, hey, Palpatine's cool. I would have wished if Palpatine would have not been there at all from like any Star Wars media. I think Darth Vader is cooler, and Darth Maul, Count Dooku, like they're all kind of cooler than Palpatine. But you know, he keeps coming back, referencing how he's like all the Sith in one. That idea. How is Rey so powerful that she can beat up Kylo Ren with not a lot of Jedi training? Well, Kylo Ren didn't really have a lot of Sith training either, if I recall, in The Force Awakens. I could be wrong, but I feel like his anger was a good comparison, seeing Kylo Ren to Darth Vader. Like, Darth Vader would just, when he would get angry, he would just be like, whoosh, and like kill someone like swiftly. But Kylo Ren, he would just be like, psh, 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 like, go off, King. And he would lose control. And lose his temper. But those are the main points. Which is to say, I think Rey just beat Kylo Ren because he just kept losing control. Back to Rise of Skywalker. Those are the main points I want to just debunk. Let me actually go into the movie itself. Now that I've cemented myself as a sequel fan, Even though I'm like not really like it's a good couple of movies, but I've already said I think Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker is alright. It's a step down from 8. Like 8, the ending of 8 is like, whoa, Luke fighting off with Kylo Ren. That's crazy. But it's like a force projection. And then you think, oh man, in 9, they're gonna like throw down. But that's not the case. In 9, it's like, doesn't it start off with like another bombing run or something? It like always starts off with a bomb. Another thing I hate. This is like this might be a travesty on like all Star Wars fans, but all Star Wars movies, they like start off and you're like, all right, how long of a time jump is it between like Episode 1 or Episode 2, Episode 3 and Episode 4? They always jump so crazily in between episodes, you know? And you're like, alright, what's going on? How long has it been? What year is it? Oh yeah, the movie just opens up and Kylo Ren, he finds Palpatine. And then you're like, alright. And C-3PO has a lot to do in this movie. This is like C-3PO's movie. And like his first really big movie in like ever. I liked kinda Kylo Ren's turnaround. I would have wished if he lived just to make him more distinct from Darth Vader. I liked the battle with like the water rushing up next to the ruined Death Star. I like the concept of the ruined Death Star, just like the scenery and how it looked, but the battle next to it with Kylo Ren and Rey, how that gave flashbacks back to Episode 3 between Anakin and Obi-Wan with the lava, you know, good parallels. But also in this movie, like Luke just kind of died beforehand, so it's like straight. So it's called like The Last Skywalker. So you expect, you know, all of them to be dying. Carrie Fisher apparently died beforehand, and you know they couldn't really have someone other than Carrie to be playing Leia. That would be bonkers, and it really wouldn't feel right to have Luke without Leia. So I can see them. I can see where their heads are at. But at the same time, you know, we need that one final confrontation between like Luke and Kylo, or Luke, maybe not Kylo, because Kylo is like Rey's enemy, but maybe like Luke meeting Palpatine again and being like, oh, I thought I'd beat you. We'll put it, alright, this is where the drama happens. We'll put it here. That's a good spot to put it. Alright, now, what's this one called again? The Last Jedi. Last Jedi, you really think about it, or it really makes you think that, you know, Luke is the Last Jedi. Because it really, I really didn't process that until the movie title. It starts off with because all the Force Awakens, they're looking for Luke, and the Last Jedi is, you know, Rey handing him his lightsaber and throwing it away. People were like, "Hey, that wouldn't be a Luke type of thing to do." I disagree. That feels both a Luke thing to do because he was trained by Yoda, and that feels like a Yoda thing to do, and that also seems very good to circumvent audience expectations. This is the one that starts with the bombing fleet, isn't it? Yeah. And Rey's like, "You should help me become a Jedi," and Luke's like, "Nuh-uh." And then it's like a little back and forth. And can I just say it's like weird in this movie and The Last Skywalker that Chewbacca's just like there hanging out without Han Solo. That's just so weird. He's like a missing pair. And also in The Last Skywalker, I thought Chewbacca was dead. Or the what's it called? The Rise of Skywalker, whatever. I thought Chewbacca was dead when Rey shot the light at the carrier, taking supposedly taking Chewbacca away. That would have been a crazy death. But I like this movie because, well, first off, Luke's little, well, I guess planet? It's more of just like an island. But his little planet, he tells Rey, "Hey, I don't want to train you. You gotta do that on your own. You know, the Jedi are dead." And then I believe this is the one where he sets fire to like the Jedi tree, and you know, the Jedi are like gone without no way of coming back. The only Jedi left is Luke, which is crazy. Which is also kind of strange to think about, because at the end there was a kid with a broom, and he controls the Force. So to tie it back to Korra, like there wasn't a lot of airbenders, but then suddenly there was like this big event, and then there was tons of airbenders. So can the kid with the broom not be a Jedi, or like what is going on? So I like this movie, if not for the fact I'm not too crazy about Poe and like the bombing runs and the crazy space scenes. So I would put that there. And the scene with like Luke standing out in the, I guess, what's it called? Is it just, I'm not sure what that's called. Like a field, salt field, and Kylo's like, shoot him, whatever weapon we have, and they start shooting him, and it just explodes in red, and you're like, oh geez, they just killed Luke Skywalker. And then he just walks, or he just like brushes it off, and then Kylo Ren comes out, and he tries to like poke him, but just turns out to be a vision. But then in the next movie, it turns out that casting that vision actually killed it. It's Star Wars funnies. So let's talk about the first movie. What's that called? That is called The Force Awakens. I know that. This one. Let me talk about why I hadn't watched Star Wars for a long time. It's because of the sand. In episode 4, it begins with like sand and dreariness and boringness. All movies with sand and a lot of sand just like make me zone out. And every time I turned on A New Hope, I was like, bro, I'm out of here. Like I got to like the scene where it's like da 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 da, and you know, little bar, and that felt like an hour and a half to get there. And you can say this perfectly mimics it because it's got sand everywhere, and I was like, brother. Rey also lives on a sand planet, which is why I thought she was a child of Luke or a child of Leia. You know, that would have been a crazy revelation to be like, I'm your cousin, Kylo. Now we must fight. You know they would have done something like that. Also, how do I say this? Oh, I forgot all about this plot point. So, in the original, or the prequels, I guess, they had, like, droids and, like, clones and, like, all that, right? And in the originals, they had stormtroopers, okay? Now, in the sequels, they have stormtroopers again. What the heck is going on? That's my diss against the sequel trilogy. Is it because Kylo is just a big fan of Darth Vader? Because he's his grandpa? I'm not so sure. For years, I was asking people, what's the red R2-D2? Apparently it's not R3-D3, it's BB-8, which doesn't roll off the tongue as well. Finn is cool. Like, at the beginning, you're like, how does this even work? But Finn is cool. They find the Millennium Falcon, like, just lying around their desert world, and then they take off, and all of a sudden they go, who is that? And it's Han Solo and Chewbacca. And they're like, wowee. And then the villain is like, you must stop them. And it's Snoke. And he's telling that to Kylo Ren. And we're like, uh-oh. We're in for it now. And then they go to like a coffee bar. And it's supposed to be like their version of a, you know, one of those moments. And then Rey finds the lightsaber, and she's like, I can't take it. And then they like fight in the forest. The forest fight was pretty cool. And okay, so we gotta talk about at the end. I wasn't sure what was gonna happen, because with the original movie, if we're putting Han Solo in Obi-Wan's shoes for a moment, you know, then he's dead. But if we're thinking like, oh man, we got twisted up, you know, make it so fans will never expect what's going on, you turn the villain to the good side, and Kylo Ren's coming with us, and we're gonna fight Snoke, you know? So that's what I was thinking. But at the same time, I'm like, well, they want to kill Han Solo. I feel like people everywhere would be freaking out if they killed Han Solo. Like, be like, how could you kill my favorite character? But at the same time, I'm like, this is how I look at it, right? I was expecting major deaths across the board. You don't see Qui-Gon in the original trilogy, and you're not gonna see like major original characters jumping around the sequel trilogy, because you'll be killed off. Anakin in the original trilogy, he was a main character, and he was killed off in the original trilogy. You know, each new trilogy is a kill off characters from the trilogy before. I feel like no one is sacred except R2-D2 and C-3PO. Everyone is on the chopping block. That's my philosophy to Star Wars. I feel the music just ended, so I gotta sort this now. I would sort this here. Right? I like it more than this one. Maybe Force Awakens, Last Jedi. Force Awakens, Last Jedi. We'll put it there for now. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the sequel trilogy. I feel like I've rambled on enough. I was expecting this all to be one video, but I guess, you know, we're gonna split it up into each trilogy. Next time we'll be sorting the original trilogy and then the prequel trilogy. Join us then.